Hey, Emma.
Yes, Mel.
What did Hannibal tell his friend to do with the lady in his freezer?
I don't know. What did he do?
Maneater! Hello, and welcome to Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
I knew you were going to like that one.
That's what he does. That's the plot of Hannibal, to be honest.
He tells his friends
You got
to eat
Hannibal,
people.
you got Will, and Hannibal's just like, man, eater.
Emma, you said you had a joke. For
Yeah.
This one.
You know what the other numbers call 7?
What?
9-eater.
Oh, no. Oh, no. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. Well, folks, I'm your usual joke-telling host, Madeline.
I'm your blessed with a flash of inspiration host, Emma.
Pinch hitter.
Yep.
And this is Talk This. And we're thrilled to have you here with us on this July Sunday as we talk about... Emma keeps calling it 999, but the game actually has a title that's not that. It's 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors.
It's always referred to as 999, so...
9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors.
Okay. Can't wait for you to say that every single time the game comes up.
9H or NHNPNS. No, ND.
9 persons, 9 hours, 9 sores.
And we're excited to talk to you about these two games.
And Maneater. You didn't even say that.
I thought that one went without saying. There were 2 jokes about it.
That's true.
So let's dive into 9H, 9P,
Just
9D.
Just say it. Just say the numbers, Melon.
999.
999.
999 was also released in Japan anyway in 2009.
Yes.
A nice bit of synergy. Do you think they would have changed the release date had it released in a different year?
I mean, it didn't release on September 9th, 2009. So
That was a missed opportunity.
I know.
Feels like somebody should have seen to that.
Well,
The marketing department.
as a series, it is far more popular in the West than it is in Japan. So,
Fair enough. The odd visual novel series that is more popular in the West than Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It was released from Chunsoft. I don't love that game studio name.
they're now Spike Chunsoft.
I know, that's...
After Spike and Chunsoft merged.
I feel like that's worse.
I like that name. It's punchy.
I mean, Spike is punchy, but something about Chunsoft. I know it's based on like a mahjong tile, I think, or something, the Chun. But I don't... Anyway, I won't pass judgment, but it's not my favorite.
Okay.
It was released originally for the Nintendo DS.
Yes.
It's now on computers, and I think also phones. Maybe.
Yes. The DS version and the computer version are actually somewhat functionally different from each other.
Right, this is one of these games that actually makes use of the fact that the Nintendo DS is a Nintendo DS.
Yes.
The multi-screens and all of that good stuff.
Yes, so they had to come up with a workaround for the PC release.
Chunsoft also makes Danganronpa, which as I was reading the synopsis, I was like, wow, this sounds a lot like Danganronpa.
It's not the same
I know it's not
directors, however. They did leave Spike Chunsoft. Well, I don't know if Uchikoshi has left Spike Chunsoft, but he is working with Kodaka at his new game studio on a game together. So that'll be fun.
Ultimate psychological torture.
Basically.
Confined spaces. It's the first in the Zero Escape series, which is funny because they do escape at the end if you play it right.
Yeah, that's true.
I suppose the character's name is Zero, and that's probably where the Zero actually comes from.
Yes.
But
Zero is the person instigating the game in all 3 games.
And in 9H, 9P, 9D, I'm just doing it because it annoys you now. So you play as Junpei?
Junpei, yeah.
Is that right? Okay. You play as Junpei. You're a college student. Doing your college student thing.
In your sensible flannel and puffy vest.
That's, you know what, that is not what I wore in college, but would only have been appropriate about 2 days of the year in Miami. So you'll have to forgive me for passing up the college student uniform. But you're just, doing your sensible college student thing when one day you're abducted, you find yourself on a cruise ship with 8 other people and no way out except for solving some puzzles.
Yes. You are, based on instructions from Zero, given to you over the ship's PA system, that's what they're called. You have to find the door that bears a 9 within 9 hours, because then the ship will sink.
So, as you might have picked up on, it's like we said it was a visual novel, so it's part visual novel. It's also kind of part, this is a little bit weird for a video game, perhaps, but part Escape the Room game.
I mean, in some ways, it's pretty functionally similar to how adventure novels work.
Right.
Like, you get stuff, you try them on each other, you figure things out based on clues around you. It's just that it happens to be, instead of having to wander the whole world to do stuff, it happens to be stuck in a particular room at each time.
It just made me think about how I enjoy escape rooms, and probably all escape rooms have closed permanently by now.
Yeah. I've only been to an escape room once, and it was a new one, and they had the wrong sized wrench. So just in like the first few times it had happened, it had stripped. So it would not get on the bolt.
Oh no.
And so we were trying for like 5 minutes, like being like, come on, people, it doesn't work. And they were just giving like passive aggressive hints over the screen, like, righty tighty, lefty loosey. It's like, we've tried this both ways, man. It's not working.
See, I feel like I probably have unusually positive, because I've never done an Escape the Room as like a corporate team building activity or anything like that, which I feel like is probably where most of their business comes from. I've only ever done them as like friend activities.
Yeah.
And I also haven't seen the horror film based on them, or maybe lightly based on this game. This game is also proposing a way that we can test the COVID vaccine by throwing people on cruise ships and forcing them to work together to get out. I can't read about cruise ships either now without thinking, ooh, virus.
So the Zero Escape games are interesting because, like, you know, there's this odd setup, but 999 starts relatively grounded, in terms of, like, they're just people trying to get out. And then it introduces some sort of weird, pseudoscience fantasies type stuff near the end.
My boyfriend would hate this game. Like, the more I read about the morphic resonance or whatever, I could just feel him recoiling.
I really do love that concept, though, because of how both the DS makes use of the dual screen and the PC version uses adventure novel mode for a really cool effect near the end. That the play this in me is like, oh, cool. Then the second game, which is called Virtue's Last Reward, is like big sci-fi, basically. And then the third game is like C-movie horror schlock is the best way I'd describe it. Like, in a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way, but it's not quite as it's not quite as serious.
Quite as sophisticated,
yes,
perhaps.
Yes. It throws everything at the wall in the last game.
So, one thing that I think is really kind of part of the culture around visual novels a lot, that I have a hard time feeling like I could see myself playing the game this way, is the kind of the culture of you have to play the game like multiple times to get to the true ending.
Yeah.
That's always something that's, whenever I read about it for a game for the show, I'm like, ugh.
Well, in this case, right, because of the plot twists at the end, like, those are relevant, right?
Right.
It's not like it's just like different routes where different things happened. It's that like you need information within the story from a certain route. I think that 999 is perhaps not quite as sophisticated in its timeline management as the next two games, in that it can be hard to, like, you can fill out the flowchart, it feels like, and still not, like, know how to get the true ending, because you have to take a certain route, right? Because you need to have an item to unlock the true ending, basically, and you have needed to get one previous ending.
Well, that's always what's off-putting to me about it, is, like, I think that the same thing was happened with Steins Gate, maybe, when we talked about that, is just the idea of, I don't trust these, I mean, 2009 is not really early aughts, right? But almost. I don't trust these early aughts developers to make this feel clear and solvable for me. It feels like strategy guide era stuff.
My experience is that 999 you would have to probably look up a strategy guide, but the next two games make it, like, the unlocks are so very easy to deal with. That it doesn't, like, it's basically like you're hopping around more than you're restarting the game.
Although I was seeing that there are some quality of life things that feel like it would be a little bit like, they have your favorite fast forward mode that exists, and they, like, will tell you what choices you've already picked, which is good, because I could definitely see myself being like, haha, that's funny. Multiple times in a row.
They're set up so that they will skip text you've already seen, but the skip won't work on text you haven't seen unless you turn that option on for some reason.
And based on the twist, which I don't know if you're trying to, like, conceal it on purpose or if we need to, like, put it behind a spoiler wall or whatever.
I don't know.
It's a 10-year-old, you know. Or
yeah,
it's
I know. It's
game.
just that the ending is so good for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like, so, like, obviously...
Also, I'm scared of Madelin's lore corner, you know?
I'm trying to stay away. Emma was making fun of my notes for this one, because I was like, I don't understand. Help. Because I was reading the plot summary for this. I feel like the visual novels always have, like, aggressively detailed plot summaries on Wikipedia. Like, somebody just got really into it and was like, I'm gonna explain the whole game on here.
Yeah.
But do you feel like, so, like, obviously now, I mean, people have Nintendo DSs. They exist in the world. But nobody is gonna play this. Nobody's gonna play this game on the Nintendo DS now.
Yeah,
right?
Probably not.
You'd really have to want to go out of your way. Do you feel like, from what I read of the twist, it does seem to be most effective based on that particular piece of hardware? Do you feel like that has lost its impact? I know you have strong feelings about The World Ends With You, for instance.
I mean, I think any game that made use of the DS is a game to be admired, right? Like, the DS is such, like, you have the dual screens, what can you do with it? You know, if someone went into making a game and asked themselves that question, I think that's great. But I don't know. I don't think it really necessarily is lost in impact. I think the novel and adventure modes are a fun way to do it, basically. Because there are certain points where it will automatically switch back and forth even before the ending. So you're aware that there are both modes, and you can turn it on and off for different things.
Yeah, I do feel like the majority of games that wanted to do something fun with DS hardware were like, ooh, touchscreen. Never had a touchscreen before. Yeah. And the relatively few that made more use of the dual screen are both more challenging to port to anything else, but also feel creatively more interesting looking back, especially now that we all carry touchscreen game devices with us in our pockets everywhere.
Yeah.
In a way that we didn't when the Nintendo DS was really, really big.
Yeah.
So as Emma mentioned, right, this game bigger in the West than in Japan. You said you had something with the localization.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to talk about?
I just, because this line makes me laugh every single time I think about the person writing it. I'm like, I'm so sorry. So, in 999, because they're all paranoid about what Zero knows about them, they decide to call each other by code names, right? And they all have bracelets that have a number on it that plays into how the game within the game is played. So they all come up with code names based on their numbers. So in Japanese, these are all, like, puns on the number, either in how they're written or how they're said. And the English mostly entirely changes all of these, with two exceptions. One is Seven, who just is called Seven.
Right.
So they just call him Seven.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is Santa. So San is 3 out loud in Japanese, at least in some cases, because you can count things in like thousand different ways. But you can't change it from Santa because Santa Claus is also an important part of it.
Oh.
So it has to be Santa.
Uh-huh.
But you have to connect it to 3 somehow.
Oh no.
So when he's naming himself, and it's voice acted in one of the releases too,
now.
And the delivery is great. It's any of you chumps know Japanese? San is the Japanese word for 3, so I'm Santa.
Man, somebody was just like, I give up. Somebody sat around. You know what? I can sympathize. Sometimes I sit around trying to come up with puns. I mean, before these episodes, I'm always like, a pun, and let me think of a pun. And from now on, I'm just going to be like, any of you chumps know Japanese?
I know.
Pretty
It's
good.
the use of chumps, I think, is really great as well.
This is interesting, because like, this is an episode that we're not recording distanced, as we usually are.
Yeah.
So I can't test out morphic resonance in the same way.
Right, you're right.
I can't try it. I mean, I sort of can and be like, okay, wait, Emma, I'm going to think of a word.
See, you have to put me in danger first, though, right?
You're right.
Like, it comes out when you're feeling under danger
I'm
pressure.
gonna think of a word. Watch out! What word am I thinking of?
Cheese.
You were so close! It was chump.
I should have gone for chump.
You just weren't afraid enough. You only got the first part. The fear wore off. Yeah, in case you aren't familiar with the idea of morphic resonance, which is an important part of this game.
Yes.
It's the idea that, like, we just get, like, vibrations from the universe. Basically, that, like, we inherit a collective memory, and there's also, like, a telepathic communication between organisms.
Yeah.
In this game, specifically, siblings.
Yes.
So, it's real. We just proved it.
I got it. I got half the word.
I suppose, listeners, you could say to yourself, well, maybe Madeline was, like, mouthing the word at Emma or something.
Yeah,
like she
there's
had
no
it on
way
a
to
piece
prove
of paper.
that.
I promise that I wasn't. If I was, Emma would have gotten the word correct.
See? That means it is true.
Oh, man. Well, if you don't, do you have any other thoughts on this game? I want to read a snippet from the IGN review, and then we can talk Maneater.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. I really do think this is a very fun series. I mean, you have to have a sort of tolerance for, like, nonsense. Like, even though 999 requires the strategy guide, I think it's the cleanest of the games. I think Virtue's Last Reward is the most ambitious, but perhaps gets a little bit too impressed with itself. And then Zero Time Dilemma is just, like, a huge mess, but it's fun. It's a fun, huge mess. That one in particular was, like, there was, not crowdfunding, but, like, a petition from the West to get them funding, but you can tell that they did not have enough funding for what they wanted to do. But each of them does do something cool with what's added to it, like, 999 is the cool dual screen thing. In Virtue's Last Reward, your character is the only one that doesn't have voice acting. Which is notable for reasons.
Sure.
And then Zero Time Dilemma is cut like security cameras or the camera shots.
Oh.
And those are also factor into the twist. Which I really do appreciate. Like, the meta parts of, like, making the game factor into the twists of the story in a satisfying way.
Also, the original has an in-game calculator.
Yes, it does. Because it's very important to make digital roots, I think is what you have to make all the time, which is not, like, you know, automatic math, necessarily.
Unless your combined SAT score was... Anyway. Okay, so just to close up, here's a review from when the game originally came out from IGN. This is the opening of the review. My mind is still unraveling. It's been 3 days since I started playing. Stop laughing. 3 days that stretched into 3 nights. Late nights. Staying up well into the AM hours. It wasn't a choice. It wasn't a decision ahead of time to play like that. But as my mind began to become more and more intertwined into the world I'd begun exploring, it seemed impossible to stop. I couldn't stop. I was playing 999. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors.
See? That's a testament. Very fun games.
I was surprised. I was like ready for the IGN review to be like 7.5. And instead this man was like, this ate my brain alive. Speaking of eating things alive,
Maneater.
Man, what a different game.
Yeah.
If this one was all like psychological and based on this weird sciencey stuff, you know what? I guess in some ways Maneater looks at the science and says, nah.
Right. It's just a pseudoscience-y, to be fair.
Yeah, except like there's a difference between pseudoscience and like wrong.
That's true.
You know, like pseudoscience is like, well, I guess we can't totally disprove this, but it's kind of dumb. Whereas Maneater is like, you know that sharks only attack 5 people a year? What if they attacked 5 people in 30 seconds? Go!
To be fair, we've been making movies to that extent for a long, long time.
I know.
At least they're not in a tornado this time.
Anyway, weirdly enough, Maneater is an RPG, an action RPG.
I know, I read that. I was like, it's an RPG.
From Tripwire Interactive. I don't know what else Tripwire has done. But it came out just recently.
Yeah.
Like, recently enough that they were, like, previewing it at PAX. This is my opportunity to get in our weekly, like, shout-out to, like, oh, remember when we went to PAX?
We went to PAX? That was crazy. That was wild.
We should have been way more nervous. We, like, sat on the floor eating.
I know. You know, we were away from people when we were eating, so...
Sorta.
We were. We moved away from people. We didn't sit on the floor of the hall and eat.
The only people who were safe there were Tom Nook, KK Slider, and Isabel. And Pikachu. They had a mask. Yeah, it just released in May, so it's only 2 months old. For Windows, PS4, and Xbox One. Apparently coming to the Switch. Not
Nice.
a game I'd really want somebody watching me play on the train, to be honest. You can imagine, just kind of like looking over.
You know, social distancing, right? You've got that going on your Switch. You think anybody's going to sit next to you?
It's an effective method. Anyway, in Maneater, you play as an RPG shark.
Yeah. I do really like the concept of, like, you're a baby shark, and through eating things and, like, growing, literally, you grow and become bigger. Right? Like, there's something cool about that from an RPG standpoint. Like, it's not just like you're getting stronger. It's like you can visually represent the strongness of your shark.
I'm trying to think of, like Maneater in some ways, I'm saying this more and more, but Maneater feels like a mashup game to me.
I mean, I was reading, like, the influences section of it, and they were like, gameplay is like Dark Souls and something else. I don't remember what it was. But they were just, like, listing all these games that they took inspiration from, that, like, and then they added a shark to it, basically.
What I'll say from watching the gameplay, didn't look like Dark Souls to me. Maybe the person playing it was just really good and made it look easy, but it did not have that Souls-like quality.
Reviews I read were critical of how the AI behaved, which I think is probably a key part of Dark Souls feeling fair, right? Mm-hmm. Is the AI working? Mm-hmm. And basically said, like they were trying things and then quickly found that just mashing attack worked better than really any, like, fancy maneuvers. Yeah.
I can't say that's not what I want. Like, if I'm playing as a game as a killer shark, I don't know if I want, like, fine-tuned Dark Souls strategy.
Yeah, but it's gotta have something there. Yeah. Right? I mean, like, if you're just going around eating people with a single button, like, you can't make that into a full RPG experience.
It's like if we had to mash up Spore. Anytime you say evolution in a game, it makes me think of Spore. And, like, Zoo Tycoon Marine Mania.
This is just Zukaikun Marine Mania.
I know, it's like first-person perspective. It's not first person, but it's like you zoomed in on how you play that, which is you build a zoo and then you put people in the shark tank. Then you would have this game.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it was bloody, though.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, like, gruesome in the way of, like, oh, all their guts are lovingly animated, of, like, you know, certain fighting games.
Yeah.
It's just, like, blood spray. So it's more like schlocky stuff again, right? Of, like, blood everywhere, you know?
That's true, yeah.
It's over-the-top gruesome. It's not like, this is what an actual person would look like inside if you slice them in half, you know?
That said, I don't know. Once I started reading reviews, I started to have more mixed feelings about it. I think that the gimmick of having a Discovery Channel, he's actually, like, in-game, he's, like, the host of Maneaters versus some kind of reality, Discovery show. They have this, like, Discovery Channel style narrator narrating what you're doing, which on one hand is, like, what a fun idea. On the other hand, like, this game is not science. And maybe it's irresponsible.
To be fair, in the clip that we saw, he was like, sharks are not known for going after humans. This shark is very odd in its violence, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's, like, you know, aware of that. And we have so many shark movies that at this point, it's like, maybe it's irresponsible, but just something that our society has decided is a trope.
I know.
So
I just read an article about somebody who got their leg bit off by a shark. So I'm, like, looking at the game through that lens. He was fine, but he thought he was gonna die.
Well, yeah. I can see why.
Yeah. It's hard for me to imagine wanting to play more than half an hour of this game.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got, too. From both watching it and from the reviews of just, like... I mean, they put in some stuff that theoretically feels interesting when you read about it, right? Like... the growing is interesting. Like, that's a cool idea.
Which, just to fill in a little lore corner here, so you play as originally a baby shark, ripped from the womb.
Yes.
The womb.
The womb.
Ripped from the womb of your mother shark by...
Scaly Pete.
I almost said Stinky Pete. And I was like, I know that's wrong. By poacher and all-around bad dude, Scaly Pete.
Yes.
Of indeterminate accent.
Yes.
And so you grow up wanting revenge on Scaly Pete.
Yes.
That's been Madelyn's lore corner.
And then, like, there's different zones, and in each zone there's, like, an apex predator, right? Like, of a different marine type.
Sure.
And by defeating those predators, you gain abilities. And then, like, there are, like, bounty hunters that come after you as you get more notoriety. Like, that shows up in RPGs, like, just normal RPGs, too. Like, so, theoretically, there's a lot of room for both, like, creature-on-creature combat and human-on-creature combat, right? So it feels like it should work well, but it just doesn't feel like they really got to a point where the AI was really working or found any sort of interesting distinction between the human enemies. So it ends up feeling mostly like a just eat everything game, you know?
And to be fair, I just double-checked. It's about a 10-hour game, apparently. Which, I don't know, I heard an RPG and I was like, it's 100-hour epic about being a shark. No, not that long. But I was like, oh, it's probably 30 hours. But maybe that makes it a little bit more. Because I was like, okay, how many different ways to do combat can there possibly be? It's like a never-ending water, like the meme about water levels, right? Is that they're terrible. And this is just a never-ending water level.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it does, like, when I first saw it announced at whatever E3 it was announced at, I really thought it was like, what is this, like, Goat Simulator, you know, that type of thing, which it's not, right? Like, you can bring your shark onto land, but you have to bring it back to the water, eventually, or it'll suffocate. And you can't, like, get in cars and drive around or whatever. It's not a simulator game, but that was, like, my initial impression of it. And I think it still harbors a little bit of that DNA in some ways.
Mm. Well, yeah, it's just like, I'm trying to think of, like, what would feel like a satisfying... Would it feel like a satisfying conclusion to this game to eat Stinky Pete? Is that what happens?
I don't know, he looks like a jerk, so... I think you eat his son first, which that guy just seemed like a poor, hopeless idiot.
No, his son, Kyle?
Kyle is his son,
Kyle
I'm assuming.
Is killed in an explosion.
But caused by the shark.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
After they try to burn the shark alive.
Yeah.
After it eats Scaly Pete's left leg.
Yeah, Kyle also doesn't seem that great, but, you know, he's also just, like, dropping things. And when his dad gets his hand bitten off, he, like, comes up to him like, "Oh, Dad. Dad, are you okay?" Like, nobody is really disturbed by the blood gushing out of Scaly Pete's arm. They're just sort of slightly perturbed by it, to be honest. Like, darn. It's lost a hand.
Oops.
But I don't know what his accent is. I am embarrassed to admit I'm always bad at understanding accents. But Madeline had turned on
1.5 speed.
1.5 speed of one of the cutscenes, and I just it did not sound like words.
Wikipedia tells me he's Cajun, so you were right. I think New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah.
Spoilers for this game. It ends in it's a mutually destructive tragedy.
Yeah. But, you know, it brings an end to what was likely a cycle of violence, right? Like, that is a deep moral lesson. Like, if you keep, you know, seeking revenge on your family over and over again, you eventually will both self-destruct together, and there'll be no more of either of your lines.
It's really a Romeo and Juliet story, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a twist on the formula, you know?
And in the end, only the film crew is left to document.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing that I can't remember who gives the speech. It's the prince, I think.
It's the prince, yeah. Or the king. Some royal.
It's the prince. It's
some
not
royal
the king.
dude.
There's no king in Romeo and Juliet.
Well, whatever.
What a creative Shakespeare adaptation.
Who needs The Last of Us Part 2 when you've got Maneater to teach you about...
Is The Last of Us Part 2 Shakespearean?
I don't know. Is it?
Is everything Shakespearean?
Is everything Shakespearean?
No, what a white Western way of viewing things.
I know. I'm sure every culture has the revenge is probably bad for you story. I'm pretty sure that's like a common one, you know?
I don't know. I've never heard that one before. Revenge? Bad for you, you say? I don't know about that.
Tell us your favorite revenge is bad for you story.
I don't know. What a hard thing to choose.
I know. I don't have one either, to be fair.
Kingdom Hearts. Xehanort lost that chess game. And then Kingdom Hearts happened. Or, to be honest, the end of Kingdom Hearts Remind. Nomura's revenge story. You canceled my game? Too bad, here it is.
Oh, the true revenge. Talk about meta storytelling, you know.
I'm trying to think about it. Do you have favorite revenges maybe not good story?
No, I don't know.
Come on.
I don't have any. I'm very bad at remembering things off the top of my head. I would have had to prepare for that question.
Well, okay, so now get the top of your head ready then. Because it's mashup time!
Oh, boy. Well, I mean...
9 sharks are put into a tank.
There's, you know, theoretically ocean in both of them, you know?
Right. I mean, yeah, we saw in the 15 minutes that we watched from IGN, a cruise ship sinking, so...
Yeah.
It takes place in the same universe.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe that's not in the plot synopsis, but yeah, they're in a cruise ship. Maybe Wikipedia didn't include that part.
No, it did.
No, I just mean that
Oh yeah, they're on a cruise ship. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I know. I
okay.
know on a cruise ship. But I think you can do something with the, what was it? I want to say mimetic resonance, but that's not what it is.
It's mimetic.
It's not.
Morphogenetic or something.
Morphic? I think it's just morphic.
Well,
Yeah,
there are
morphic.
morphogenetic fields. I'll tell you that
Okay,
much.
fine. So I think that the morphic resonance thing could be a dope thing to play with sharks. Whether it's like the like shark telepathy, or because another thing about morphic resonance is that like things inherit a collective memory.
Nemo.
Stop that. Stop that. No, because things inherit like a memory. Right? It's like that's like a passed down thing.
Sure.
Which feels like really resonant with the themes of Maneater.
Sure.
So, it's a shark visual novel.
So, you're the baby shark, but you're reaching back. Yes, do. And the mother shark is going through some struggles, and so you're learning from the mother shark, who is dead now.
Okay.
Or is
we,
the
like,
mother
jumping
shark
back and forth?
The mother shark is Schrodinger's shark, okay?
Maybe that got it, because she can turn out dead or alive depending on the lessons you give her.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like you should probably be doing that with Kyle and Scaly Pete too.
Scaly Pete just sucks at it. I mean, not Scaly Pete. Kyle just sucks at it.
Yeah.
Just awful.
How does that work? I'm not quite understanding what you're outlining here.
Like, you're like teaching your mom how to fight against predators through what you've learned.
Okay. This whole idea makes no sense, and that's why I'm having a hard time.
Why doesn't it make sense?
Because the mom's already, like, you're in the future.
But, like, did something either happened or didn't happen at one point in time?
Oh, I see. So, like, based on the ways that you make your shark act, it reveals things about the past. So, like, your shark already knows, but you don't know? Is that the idea?
I'm just going for the 999 twist pretty verbatim.
I mean, I know you are, but I don't want to use that.
Okay. Then you come up with something.
Okay.
Then.
It's Spore.
Okay.
And, like, as you go along, you learn things. No.
That is Spore, you're correct.
Okay, you play as both a baby shark and a small child who lives on the beach who have a unique connection. Like a morphic connection. And through that you learn that...
So it's Romeo and Juliet. Except played straight.
No! You learn that both of you share a mother, a mermaid. But one of them...
shark maid.
Sure, fine, she's a shark bottom, fine, that's better. But one of you, like, came out, like, it's Punnett Square thing, right? So we can use some, like, science in here.
Yes, some nice science.
So one of you came out, like, full human.
The recessive gene.
Exactly. And one of you came out full shark.
Okay.
But you're siblings. But you don't know it. At first, it's just, like, they have a special telepathic connection. He can, like, talk to... let's make it girls. She can talk to the shark.
Right, Maneater, female protagonist.
You're right.
Again, who needs The Last of Us?
Maneater is a mom game. No,
it's a daughter game.
You're right, it's a daughter game. You're right, it is. Okay. But then you find out that... Okay, so they both share this mershark mom, right?
Okay.
So we find out eventually... So it's weird that they share this connection, because this kid, by all accounts, should be and is terrified of sharks, except for this one shark, because this kid's dad was eaten by a brutal male shark.
Mm-hmm.
It's uncle? No, not its uncle. It's like the brutal male shark who ate the human dad is the shark dad.
What? Oh, so they're half siblings.
Well, they have to be half siblings. How else could the Punnett Square work, Emma?
Because the shark is the dominant gene. The mom is just like some sort of weird mutation.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I want them to have different parents. I kind of like the idea of, like, eventually these two are going to have to reconcile their
I thought you were going full Romeo and Juliet, and you're going to be like, the shark killed, like, the dad's best friend, so the dad killed the shark.
No. I think that the shark dad killed the human dad, and then... Oh, like, they, like, killed each other at the same time.
Oh, very poetic, yes?
I don't know what the gameplay is like. I guess it's part visual novel.
Yeah.
Part shark simulator.
It's when they meet for the first time. You don't think the shark can talk, but then he goes, hey, you jump no sharkanese.
Oh, man. I think this is good. I like this, like, and you can, like, switch back and forth. You can switch back and forth to solve puzzles.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're trying to find, your mom. Your
Okay.
mom disappeared after this accident.
Okay.
You need to find her to find out the truth.
Yeah, your mom went through some BS there.
She was done with both of them.
Okay, she was over them. Got it.
Your mom disappeared.
That's probably why they fought, though, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they both thought, like, that she broke up with them for the other one.
Probably. And
but she was just wanted to be...
find the mom, she reveals, you've, like, sort of kind of figured it out on the way, but she reveals the truth about your parentage.
Right.
And what happened. And then you have to decide whether you're gonna, like, what happens. Like, does the kid kill both of them? Does the shark eat both of them? Is there, like, a piece?
Why would they eat each other? Wait, what's the motivation here? They're just mad?
Yeah, because their dads killed each other.
Did they not know this before?
Maybe they've made a pact. They don't realize it's the other person's dad,
oh,
right?
Okay.
Maybe they've made a pact that they're gonna help. It's really dumb that they don't realize.
I know. I wasn't gonna say anything, but I was like, oh, author's convenience, huh?
We'll figure out a way. And they've made, like, a pact. They're gonna, like, kill the person who was responsible for this.
So it's their mom.
Or maybe it's each other. Who knows? Look, I think this has potential.
This is very, like, Greek myth.
Well, yeah. We're throwing it further back than Shakespeare. Oh, my ribs hurt from, like... what did the IGN guys say? My mind is still unraveling. That's how people are gonna feel after they've played Shark Bound.
9 sharks, 9 mans, 9 moms.
In the end, they don't even have the same mom. It's a mistake. The mom had a twin.
Sequel bait.
Bait. Nice. Shark bait, maybe that could be the title.
Shark bait. I don't know where that would come from. We would really have to get into the themes here, you know?
Right.
Deep into it.
Ed is shark.
Ed is shark.
Sharkopus. That sounds like octopus. That's the problem.
Sharkopus doesn't work.
Sharkopus Rex.
Sharkopus Rex. Yeah, something like that. Is there another story where he, like, kills his dad and his mom? Probably.
Is there a story where someone kills their parents?
I mean, I guess it would have to... Electra's similar, right? Is Electra just the opposite?
Kill her parents.
She doesn't
Electra's
kill her parents?
I think, end up dead.
Okay. Because we have the female protagonist, remember?
You're right.
So
you're right.
Can't be Oedipus.
A shark trap.
Oedipusia.
That's not.
That's really bad. I'm sorry I said that out loud.
That's when we make it about a person, like a mercat.
Just add the cat to it.
Well, folks, do you have a better way of mashing up these two games? I don't know how you could.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know how you could either.
I've written a 5-act play.
You really went deep into that.
Lore, like the lore depths. It's an RPG, too.
Of course.
RPG puzzler.
Yeah.
Well, folks, coming up for air here. This has been another episode of Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
If you enjoyed what you heard here this week, if you like sharks or you like the number 9, that's too bad. We don't talk about those every week. But we do talk about games old and new every week.
We sure do.
And if you want to keep up on the latest, you should follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and YouTube now as Talk This Podcast.
Yeah, there's a whole new video on there.
I really enjoyed Emma's new series, On Topic Corner.
I don't even think it's been like a whole year yet. I really made it just in time.
Long-time listeners might remember Off Topic Corner from, what was it, SideQuest 4.0? Are we on SideQuest 5.0?
I think this is 4.0.
Okay, SideQuest, News Magazine SideQuest, whatever the SideQuest iteration was before this one.
The one we had the longest.
Although this one is, happening.
Sure, it's happening. It's hippity happening.
I mean, it's been happening for a while, but it's also happening. But now we have a YouTube series called On Topic Corner, where Emma discusses pieces of games that she has thoughts about.
Yeah, just pretty much nonsense, to be honest.
So you should check out her video on Trails of Cold Steel. If you've been listening to the show, you've heard a lot of her thoughts about it, and I felt, even as someone who's not played the game, that I had picked up enough about the game. You may not be privy to Emma's text messages about it. I don't know if she's texting you about Trails of Cold Steel.
Yeah, I'm texting our audience.
She might just be picking random numbers and just kind of screaming into the void. Who knows? But I felt it was a great companion to the discussion we've already heard from her on our What We've Been Playing side quests. So you should definitely go check that out on YouTube. Talk This Podcast. Helps to put it all in one word if you're searching for us on there. Or you could just check out our website, www.talkthispodcast.com, where you can find that YouTube link, I believe, somewhere.
Yeah.
As well as more about the show, about Emma and me and Emma. Grammatically correct, about me and Emma. My students will be pleased with me for that one. And the blog, where you can read long-running series, Clickbait Boyfriend, where my boyfriend is playing Kingdom Hearts 3. Think I will get the new one, the last one, up this week, finally, after talking about it forever. And also Split Screen, where we're watching Coffee Prince and My Hero Academia.
And there will be a new one up this week.
If Emma feels like doing
Listen, I got a little distracted by the video, okay?
She was busy. Finally, if you enjoyed the show, why don't you subscribe? We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Pandora Podcasts online and on the app. We're on Podcaster. We're on Overcast. Anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find Talk This. Emma, have I talked for long enough that you've got our little game selector pulled up on your phone?
Yes. I had forgotten I had to do this, so I had to put it into my phone. So I already picked our old game.
Drum roll, please.
It's Cooking Mama.
Excellent. Speaking of games that PETA doesn't appreciate.
Why?
Because you cook meat.
Oh, I guess you do.
They have their whole parody game about cooking.
Really?
Yeah.
About Cooking Mama.
Yep.
Out of all things.
You have to cook meat.
Okay.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about the new Cooking Mama.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a fun episode. And our new game is Animal Crossing.
Wow. That's dark.
So we'll finally get it out of the way.
That's really dark.
I keep seeing fan art to bring this back to the opening joke for Animal Crossing.
Oh no.
So that's pretty much what the mashup will be.
You eat your neighbors.
Pretty much.
You ate that.
Yeah.
Well, if you aren't tired of us talking about Animal Crossing yet, tune in a couple weeks for another 20-25 minutes of thoughts on it.
Yeah, we'll get it out of the way.
Yeah.
we'll
never talk about it ever again. Except once every 6 weeks.
Yes. You'll go back to being your regular thing, and Animal Crossing will finally be purged.
It'll be a good opportunity for us to share. I'm going to share my 700 Animal Crossing screenshots on social media.
You really do have.
Every time I say something funny, I want to.
But you gotta take it off eventually. Gotta take it off the system.
Anyway, next week we're going to have a side quest about the topic of my choosing.
Any thoughts on that?
Not yet, no.
What is it not going to be about?
Sharks.
Good. Wait, no. What's it not going to be about? I'm thinking of a word. Oh no!
Cheese?
Darn, I was thinking of doors. Not even the first.
How on earth was I supposed to get that? They both have double vowels. And the letter S.
You're right. You're basically the same. That's how this works.
So tune in for next week's discussion of telepathy and pseudoscience. And then in 2 weeks, we'll talk Cooking Mama, and Animal Crossing. I don't even have to play. I don't have to, like, go out of my way to play. I play Animal Crossing every day.
Yeah, you make up for... So, listeners...
Oh, I can't believe it.
Please...
I thought I was going to get away with it without having to say anything.
Please feel free to shame Madeline.
Oh.
This is the first week since, like, it was like your New Year's resolution, wasn't it? Yeah. Where Madeline did not manage to play either of the games.
Yeah. It was $30.
I know, yeah.
I'm sure Maneater was similar cost.
Yeah.
I apologize, listeners. Next week I played both. Doesn't that count for something?
Yeah, it does. It's good. It's fine.
Anyway. Well, since you've publicly shamed me, you now get to say something nice to the listeners. I'm going to storm off.
This week, I hope that you and your BFF can talk through the waves of quarantine.
The waves, both literal and mental.
Exactly.